Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Bold and the Beautiful preview, December 1st to 5th. Ridge and Eric back at it again. Dylan breaks down. The Bold and the Beautiful preview for the week of December 1st to 5th reveals Ms. Dylan, Sydney Bullock, comes clean to Finn Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, and Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood. Bill Spencer, Don Diamant, urges Katie Logan, Heather Tom, to leave Forrester Creations and join him at Spencer Publications. Meanwhile, Ridge Forrester, Torsten K., tells Eric Forrester, John McCook, it might be time for him to retire, which did not sit well with the old man. Next week, Katie tells Bill that FC has hired a PR firm without her knowledge. The Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers say Bill thinks it was a disrespectful move and urges Katie to quit. Bill urges Katie it's time for her to strike out on her own instead of staying under anyone's control. He even suggests she join him at Spencer Publications, reminding her that she and Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, will always have a place there. You want me to leave Forrester and come back? Katie asks Bill, you shouldn't have to answer to Ridge and Brooke, he replies. Also next week, Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace, and will bring Dylan to the Cliff House to talk with Finn and Steffi. The Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers say the art teacher gets emotional as she comes clean about what she did to Luna Nozoa, Lisa Yamada. Dylan confesses that she was the one driving the car that hit Luna, ultimately killing her. You're the one that ran down Luna? Finn asks in disbelief. I'm so sorry, Dylan apologizes. I killed your daughter. Meanwhile, Ridge puts pressure on Eric to finally retire from Forrester Creations. The Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers say the dressmaker thinks it's time for his father to enjoy his life and leave the business to him and Steffi'd go off into the sunset, do something, Ridge tells Eric. That's what I would do if I were in your shoes. Of course, this does not sit well with Eric. You're not in my shoes, Ridge, he defiantly reminds his son. Bold and the Beautiful, viewers know Ridge and Eric have been down this road before. Will history repeat itself? The first week of December on The Bold and the Beautiful thrusts viewers back into the electric storm where love, loyalty, ego, and legacy collide at Forrester Creations. What should have been a quiet transition into the holiday season becomes a battleground of unresolved feelings, buried resentments, and shocking emotional outbursts that leave even the strongest Forrester men shaken as the winter sun hits the Forrester windows on Monday. Ridge is already pacing the executive office, jaw tight, hands clenched, rehearsing the fight he's sure is coming. He doesn't want it. He swears he doesn't. But when it comes to Eric, wanting peace and keeping peace are two very different things. He knows any attempt at a calm conversation has a 50-50 chance of ending in a verbal landslide. Still, he steels himself because nothing about this current feud is sustainable, not for him, not for his father, and certainly not for the company caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, Eric is on the opposite side of the building nursing frustration of his own. He believed, perhaps naively, that the last health crisis and emotional reckoning would finally bridge the painful distance between him and Ridge. Instead, it feels like they've slipped straight back into their old patterns. Competing visions, competing loyalties, and a competition neither tries to start but both seem unable to avoid. When Eric's assistant slips him the morning schedule, he notices Ridge has blocked out time with him. Eric sighs. He knows what that means. Another battle of wills disguised as a discussion. By mid-morning, the two men find themselves face to face. Ridge stands tall, authoritative, as though bracing for incoming fire. Eric watches him with weariness that only comes from a lifetime's worth of too many arguments, too many misunderstandings, too many moments where pride spoke louder than the heart. What begins as a firm but civil debate about leadership direction quickly spirals. Ridge accuses Eric of undermining him. Eric counters that he's simply protecting the company's creative soul. Ridge's voice sharpens. Eric's voice strengthens. Years of unspoken pain flood the room. Pain about the past, about mistakes, about who's responsible for what and why. And once again, father and son are back at it, locked in the same loop they swore they'd escaped. But while the Forrester office becomes charged with familiar thunder, another storyline quietly cracks open across town. One that quickly turns far darker and far more personal. Dylan, once composed to the point of rigidity, walks into the Malibu house looking like he hasn't slept in 2 days. His usually tidy shirt is wrinkled. His breathing is uneven. It's clear something inside him has snapped, and he's struggling to keep the pieces together. The past few weeks have pushed him past emotional limits he didn't know he had. He keeps replaying the trauma, the guilt, the horrifying sequence of events tied to Luna, her death, the truth he confessed to Elektra, the weight of responsibility resting squarely on his shoulders. The more he tries to drown those images, the harder they cling to him. Elektra notices immediately. She sets down her coffee and approaches him carefully, like someone approaching an injured wild animal. Sympathy in her voice, caution in her steps. Dylan tries to brush off her concern, mumbling something about being fine, being tired, being busy. But it's too weak, too hollow. Elektra places a hand on his arm, and that simple gesture cracks him. His shoulders collapse. His voice trembles. And for the first time, Dylan breaks down completely that it's not an elegant sadness, not the kind of poetic pain soaps sometimes paint with soft strings and slow motion. This is raw, human, ugly, a man shattered by truth and regret. Elektra gently guides him to sit, and once he starts talking, he can't stop. He speaks through tears about nightmares that jolt him awake, about hearing Luna's voice in the silence, about feeling like no matter what he does, he's drowning deeper in consequences he can't escape. Elektra listens, heart aching, even as her mind races. She knows Dylan needs more help than she alone can offer, but she also knows any wrong step, any push toward confession, therapy, or legal intervention could send him spiraling even further. Later in the week, Finn crosses paths with Elektra unexpectedly. He asks casual questions at first, but he quickly picks up on her anxious energy. She hesitates, lips pressed tight, clearly weighing whether to reveal what she knows about Dylan's unraveling. Finn senses trouble, he always does, but Elektra ultimately decides to protect Dylan, at least for now. She leaves Finn unsettled but without answers. And that is precisely what Finn can't stand. Back at Forrester, the Ridge and Eric crisis escalates when Brooke walks in on yet another argument. She tries to mediate, soft voice, hands raised, pleading for reason, but the tension is too thick. Ridge storms out. Eric sinks into his chair looking drained, and Brooke is left staring after them. Realizing the holiday truce she hoped to build is slipping through her fingers. The week ends with Ridge alone in the design room after hours. The silence is eerie, almost haunted.